They told me during my second trimester. The doctor sat across from me, speaking in a voice that was way too calm for what he was saying. "Your baby has a high probability of being born with Down syndrome," he said, like it was just another line in his routine. He listed possible complications, heart issues, developmental delays. "You still have time to terminate," he added quietly, like he was doing me a favor. I stared at him. Terminate, like my child was a disease, like he didn't already have a heartbeat, a name, a place in my life. I left the clinic in silence. That night, I told Matt, the guy I thought I'd raise this baby with. He barely looked at me. "So you're keeping it?" he asked. I nodded. He stood up, grabbed his jacket, and walked out. Just like that. No fight. No goodbye. He never came back. My mom cried when I told her, not because she was sad for me, but because she was embarrassed. "You're going to be tied to a disabled child for life," she said. "Why would you do this to yourself?" My dad didn't even try to hide his disappointment. Friends stopped calling, messages stopped coming. It was like I vanished the second I chose to be a mother. I was 23. Alone, pregnant, no job, no support. I had panic attacks in the middle of the night. I would sit on the bathroom floor and just sob, asking myself if I could really do this. But then, I'd feel him move. And even in all that fear, I knew I couldn't give up on him. Not ever. I named him Noah before he was even born. When labor started, I was alone. I couldn't afford a cab, so I rode the city bus to the hospital, breathing through contractions. It was humiliating and terrifying. But when they handed him to me, his little hands, his soft cry, I fell in love instantly. He looked at me like I was his entire world, and in that moment, he became mine. Bringing Noah home was the beginning of a whole new kind of fear. He was so tiny, and everything felt like a crisis. Feeding problems, trouble breathing, constant appointments. I barely had time to process what I was doing. I was just surviving. Bills started piling up fast. I had nothing in savings. I needed to work, and fast. I got a job at a rundown 24-hour diner a few blocks from our apartment. The manager barely looked at me before handing over the apron. "Smile for tips," he said, "even when you want to scream." I worked night shifts, 6 p.m. to 4 a.m., and tried to sleep a couple hours before Noah woke up. Most days I just ran on coffee and instinct. There were nights when he'd scream for hours and nothing would calm him. Sometimes I'd scream too, into a pillow, into the air, into nothing. I couldn't afford a sitter, so I started bringing him to work. I'd strap his car seat into the corner booth and rock him with my foot while serving tables. Some people smiled, some glared. One guy actually said, "You should have gotten rid of it," like my son was a mistake. I just turned away. My hands were shaking so hard I spilled a cup of coffee and burned myself. But I didn't cry, not then. My hands were cracked from dishwater. My feet ached constantly. I wore the same 2 shirts in rotation, patched up with safety pins. I counted quarters to buy diapers. But there was one night, I'll never forget it, when I dropped a plate of spaghetti right on myself during the late shift. Noah let out this deep, uncontrollable giggle, his first real laugh. I stood there covered in sauce, exhausted and broken, and I laughed with him, loud and free. It was like, for a second, we weren't barely surviving. We were just happy. Noah is almost 4 now. He still doesn't speak much, but he signs. He signs milk, more, and sometimes when he's feeling extra sweet, he signs, "I love you," with both hands, like he's shouting it silently. He's still behind developmentally, and we go to therapy twice a week, but he's full of joy. I never knew a child could laugh so loudly or love so fiercely. We're still scraping by. I'm late on rent more often than not. I eat instant noodles while he gets fresh fruit. I've learned how to stretch $20 into meals for a week. There are days I come home, collapse onto the couch, and question if I'm enough. But then Noah comes running in with his arms wide, shouting with his smile, and everything hard just fades. People still judge. They look at him and see the diagnosis. I look at him and see my whole world. One day, a woman at the diner saw him asleep in the corner booth.